All right, you comfortable? You ready?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right. Thank you to all my YouTubers, Facebook folks, LinkedIn folks. I'm so excited for the content that you're going to get today. We're interviewing Hassan Rose. He has a company called Gainzzz Fitness. That's Gainzzz Fitness. You can find him on Facebook, Hassan, Hassan Rose, like the flower, Rose, Hassan Rose. He's on Instagram as Godbody _ Gainzzz, Gainzzz. You know where to find him. I'll give an opportunity. We'll say that at the end as well. Hassan Rose is a former student of A. Philip Randolph, a former dancer for the West Indian DVD dance team. He is a graduate of A. Philip Randolph Campus High School. He owns his own business, has been working in physical fitness for the last, I don't know how many years he's going to tell me right now. Without further ado, I want to welcome Hassan Rose to the channel. Hassan.
Thank you, Cameron. Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. So tell us, what are the takeaways, or actually even before that, I know you're into physical fitness. I know you're a trainer. Give us some free content here. What are a couple of things that people that are in quarantine, maybe they don't feel comfortable going outside, what are a couple things that you would recommend that they be doing right now for their physical health?
Okay, few things I recommend people would do is just start. What I mean, start moving. If you don't have a good idea on where to start, we have YouTube, which is free. There are a lot of fitness influencers on YouTube that give out free exercises, free workout programs. Try your best to the best of your ability to mimic these movements.
And let me say this. Let me interrupt you, Hassan. Folks could reach out to you on Facebook and Instagram right now. Are you offering like a free consultation or anything for folks right now?
Yes, I am currently offering one free virtual training session to all that are interested.
That's amazing. And if you haven't seen, you can't tell from this video, but believe me, if you go on Facebook right now and you look at pictures of Hassan, this guy should be in the next movie with The Rock. This guy is Stack Diesel.
Thank you. Thank you.
So can you tell us just a little bit? I know you're doing the physical fitness thing. We're going to get into the story about how you got there, but tell us, again, people are, in the moment. Why should somebody reach out to you for a free consultation? What kind of knowledge and information do you have to share about getting physically fit?
Well, to start off, during these quarantine times, it is essential that everybody stays active. I understand it's very easy to become sedentary because that's what was told from the government. Stay home. Staying home doesn't mean don't move, don't exercise. There are a lot of home exercises you can do. One of the best ways to stay healthy during these times is movement and healthy nutrition as well.
That's awesome, Hassan. I know for myself, I actually put some videos up, and I got myself like doing bench presses with my children. We're bike riding. We in the house are doing all kinds of like calisthenics. I got one barbell that I'm utilizing and doing some. I'm not a trainer, so I've already forgotten the name of it, but some exercises where you lean over and you pull it up, and different exercises like that just to keep me physically fit and keep my energy up.
Absolutely. The world is our fitness. The world is our gym. So you don't necessarily have to go to a gym to work out. You can work out from the comfort of your home. I understand a lot of people don't feel comfortable working out in the gym because they may feel embarrassed, because they may feel they look silly to others. But in real life, a lot of people come to the gym for themselves and don't really care about what you're doing. So right now is a perfect opportunity. You don't have to worry about that. You're within the comfort of your home. do movements to the best of your ability. There's nobody there to judge you. You know, first time you try things, yes, it may come off wrong, but keep doing it. With repetition, you get better at what you do.
That's awesome, Hassan. And so let's jump into your story. Let's talk about it. Again, we're bringing value to high school students, folks that are post high school, folks that are in the job market. Talk to me about your story. How did you end up at Randolph? And then, you know, what was your high school journey like? But even before that, because I'm sort of getting ahead of ourselves, what's the takeaways that you really want people to focus on when listening to your story? What are the two takeaways that you want people to focus on?
Two takeaways that I want people to focus on are realistic goals. Right now, we're in a time of technology and social media, and every day we see images of people we aspire to look like. You know, we have Kardashians, we have people like Bernice Burgos, and I don't want to do a lot of name drops, but there's a lot of people out there, a lot of influencers with a lot of followers that people look up to, because these are the shapes that these are the shapes that people aspire to look like. Just to understand, a lot of these shapes are done under the knife. They're cosmetics. Okay, so with that being said, a lot of people, they aren't actually putting in the work. They aren't putting in the grit. All people see is the end result, and they think, okay, they attained it. They attained it by doing a few squats, when realistically the person already got the surgery done and then started doing fitness. So now it makes it look like, oh, they attained that body by doing fitness, when realistically that wasn't the case. Because once you go into the knife, you have to get into fitness to maintain that shape.
Yeah, and
Okay,
then
so
the resources that people have, the personal trainers, the access to equipment and all of that stuff, you know, it's not a realistic thing necessarily to say that you're going to look like The Rock anytime soon. He's got a you know, millions of dollars, and he's shipping gyms internationally, or at least between the States and Hawaii and whatnot. We don't all have those abilities, and you know, I don't know all of rock stuff, but you know, we don't know what surgeries and drugs are involved with those looks. So I absolutely understand your point. What's your second takeaway that you want people to take away from your story?
second takeaway is that you have to be willing to make sacrifices, sacrificing bad habits. Everybody have bad habits that they've had from young, when we was kids, and we have addressed it even into our adult lives. So attaining the physical body you want, first you have to identify your bad habits. For example, lots of people that like to drink alcohol, they like to party on the weekends often. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Live a little, but if you aspire to have a six pack, or you just want to look the best you can, you have to understand, like, these kind of lifestyles will be counterproductive to getting to where you want to go. Drinking, smoking, staying up all night. I myself am a gamer, you know, so a lot of times I game overnight, which is not good, but I've definitely cut back because I've just started as of last year. I did my first bodybuilding competition. So within fitness, sleep.
Congratulations, by the way, that's amazing.
Thank you, thank you. So since then, sleep is just as important. A lot of people don't know this. Sleep is just as important as the nutrition and fitness. Okay, so if you're up all night and you're only getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep, you're doing yourself a disservice. So you're going to
Yeah,
have to.
I think to your point, you know, people hear the word sacrifice and it's like, what you mean? I got to give up something? I gotta. What do you mean sacrifice? And sacrifice, I think, you know, people can take it to mean, you know, I got to give up everything, but it may just be giving up some bad habits, like staying up late or eating the midnight snack in order to gain your goals. So I absolutely understand what you're talking about. So let's get into your story. I want to get from junior high. You're looking at what kind of high school you want to go to, right? So I want to take us from junior high to you being in a bodybuilding competition, owning your own business, and being a physical trainer at a high-end gym. So let's get started on that and talk to us about the journey to Randolph. How did you get how did Randolph become a blip in your mind, and tell us about that journey. And I'm going to try to let you go. I'll chime in if I feel like I need to push the story forward for our viewers here, but just go ahead and walk us through that journey, junior high to graduation.
Okay, sounds good. So we're going to have to go to the Jurassic times. This was a while ago, 2006. I went to IS 195, located in Harlem, on 128th Street and Amsterdam Avenue. So,
And where were you living?
I was living in Harlem still. I'm a Harlem native, born and raised in Harlem.
So it's great because we're doing these interviews, and you know, folks grew up in the Bronx, people grew up in Brooklyn, so it's nice that I got somebody that, hey, Harlem is represented. Harlem
In
all
the
day, all day.
building. Harlem in the building. So yeah, so I went to IS 195. Excuse me, I went to IS 195 and IS 172. I graduated from IS 172. So the schools I was looking at for high school, Randolph was definitely on my list. Not in my top five though. Top three, I don't remember the top five. I
That's
remember the top
amazing.
three.
Why was Randolph not even in the top five of places that you wanted to go? What were you shooting for?
I was shooting for Stuyvesant. I was shooting for Stuyvesant, Thurgood Marshall. I don't remember the third one, but Stuyvesant was my number
Were
one.
your grades crazy at that point? Like shooting for Stuyvesant, I imagine you got to have like crazy grades.
So you had to have crazy grades. You had to pass the specialized test. I took the specialized test. I didn't do too good. I didn't do well enough to be considered. I don't remember the score. That was such a long time ago. But
So Randolph ends up being the school that isn't even in your even in your thoughts or goals, right? So you end up at Randolph, coming in the door. What was your first exposure to walking up to the Castle building?
so because I went to IS 195, I had to walk past Randolph every day to get to that school.
Okay.
So I've always seen Randolph. I was exposed to it. One of my good friends who I grew up with all the way from kindergarten, he lives down the block from me. We went to the same elementary school, same middle school. We walked to school together, and his older brother, who was 2 years older than us, he was a student at Randolph. So uh, my friend named Daniel Myers, we was talking about, oh, he wanted to go to Randolph because his brother was there. So I said, okay, cool. You know, during those times, wherever your friend go, you want to be comfortable with who you know.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome. You still know Daniel?
I still know Daniel, still know his family, still cool with him to this day.
That's great. You're gonna have to tag him in this because we mentioned him. So this will be a great part of the story. So talk to us about you coming into the school. What was your experience?
So freshman year coming to school, I was scared. I was scared because all you hear is in high school is freshman Friday. Oh, you know, you're a
Yeah.
freshman, you will get beat up all the time, and this and that, and that and the other. So I was like, okay, cool. So I just try to prep myself for the worst. I just anticipated bullying and things like that. But when I got into freshman year, that wasn't the case whatsoever. So I let rumors and urban tales get to me.
Right, right. So it was a safer experience than you expected.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's good.
I made friends pretty
That's
fast.
good because that's not everybody's high school story for sure. I'm sure.
Absolutely, yeah, and I'm grateful for that. For sure, I'm grateful for that. The moment I got in high school, I made friends pretty fast. Two of my closest friends still to this day, Joshua England and Trevor Castleberry.
So
Made friends with
we've
them.
interviewed Trevor, and I would love to get a chance to interview Joshua. He's an amazing dancer, and he was an amazing dancer in school, and he's still doing it, right?
No, he's currently not a dancer. He's a teacher now.
Holy smokes! Holy
Right,
smoke!
right. I didn't expect that neither. I did not expect that neither.
That is a book in the making, huh?
He definitely surprised me with that one because I know he was going to school. He wanted
That's
to get in the
incredible.
medical field. Hmm.
That's incredible, Hassan. That's incredible. So that's really great. All right, so um, talk to us about this journey, your friends, your freshman year. What's going on?
Freshman year was the best of years. That was actually out of all 4 years. Academically, that was my worst year. Freshman year, it was more so finding myself, finding my clique, finding my friends. You know, just going with the flow of things. And my mom was on top of me with my grades, but your parents can only do but so much. You're with them only a few hours of the day. You're in school most of the day. So she tried to the best of her ability to make sure I was on top of my grades, but my head was other places, as most teenagers would be. So freshman year wasn't the greatest academically. Sophomore year, I decided that was the first time after freshman year. That was the first time I ever had summer school. And when I had summer school, I was like, "Whoa, this is not it. I don't like this. Sacrificing my summers to go to school. The classrooms don't have any air conditioning, and I have to sit in here. And I know I'm smarter than this, but I still have to sit in here because I didn't apply myself. Yes, I don't want to do this anymore."
Yeah, I hear you.
So
I had one summer that I had to do summer school at Murray Bertram. I actually was like friends with a girl, so I was like partly a positive memory, but I know where I remember was like, oh man, why did I go down this road? How did I end up here?
absolutely. So freshman year, sophomore year is basically catch up from freshman year. So I did better. I ended up doing better, picking up my grades academically. But freshman year was so far off that I have to do summer school again
Tell us what
just to
years
make up.
you were in school. What year did you start as a freshman, and what year did you graduate?
I came in Randolph in 2006 and I graduated in 2010.
Excellent.
So sophomore year was still uh, picking up from freshman year. So I had to make up 2 years worth of work for such a horrible freshman year.
That's crazy.
But
And I know that's one of the hard things, especially we're dealing with on the back end when we get to like the college search process and everything. And, you get a student junior year that's like, man, I want to go to a good college and the GPA isn't where it should be. And so many people can relate to your story of just not connecting and taking the high school process seriously. And just not understanding how important that class that you hated freshman year and ditched, how that's going to impact your future. And it's honestly difficult. I mean, taking a student that is, 14 years old and explaining to them how this hour of time, this day is going to connect to their life, 20 years later, it's tough.
absolutely, absolutely. So I joined the football team freshman year because I was always interested in football. Football was my first sport. That was my first love. I was always interested in football. So luckily, I came to the school. I came to Randolph, and the team I joined was the Harlem Hellfighters. So the team wasn't under Randolph. It was a bunch of kids from different schools in the city, and we was on the team. So we had people from It was about seven of us from Randolph that was on the team. A few people from Thurgood Marshall. We had people that went to Manhattan Science, and a few other schools. So we all came together after school. We all go to practice. On the weekends, we go to practice. We practiced on 120th Street in Madison, 120th Street and Park Avenue, excuse me, 110th Street and Morningside Park, and we practiced on 108th Street between Columbus and Amsterdam. So we had 3 practice sites.
Yeah, so for everybody listening to this, you can reminisce about these blocks and streets. That's awesome.
So yeah, so that's what really started me getting into like being physically fit. When I first started lifting weights was freshman year, second semester of freshman year, and weightlifting was a class. And that was the only class throughout all my years of high school where I got 100 on.
That's
So
amazing.
once I was introduced to the dumbbells in a place, and it was history from there. It was history from there.
Talk to us about the weight room, because this is one of the things when we talk about connecting alumni, and this interview is a part of this project where I really want to make connections for alumni and create some energy and atmosphere around preserving the legacy of A. Philip Randolph and SBI. Not every school has a weight room. My school of the future downtown did not have a weight room like Randolph has a weight room. I doubt that it's any different now.
Absolutely. To the best of my knowledge, if I can remember, the weight room was on the 3rd floor, right next to the locker rooms. the boys and the girls locker room. It wasn't a huge gym. It was a small gym. It had two sides. One side had machines. The other side had free weights. So being me, gravitated more to the free weights. I was on the football team. I was like, okay, so I want me a football team. You know, when you watch football, you see all these big jack guys. To get there, you have to lift weights. So I said, oh, if I want to go there, if I want to be like them, then this is what I got to do. So, and luckily that was a class. And I applied myself and applied myself and applied myself. Lift the weights, experimented, watch videos. When I went home, go on YouTube, watch videos, workout videos, things of that nature. I started watching bodybuilding at the age of 15. And first, a lot of people came up on watching Arnold Schwarzenegger. My idol is Kai Green. So that's who I came up watching.
That's great.
So watching Kai Green and going into the weight room and then doing the things I seen him do, of course it wouldn't be good form. At this stage, 14, 15 years old, you just want to lift. You want to lift as much as you can. You just want to impress. You want to get the muscles. You want to attract the girls. You know, that was in mind. So yes, I want to be a football player. I want to be built like a football player.
So if somebody's identifying with your story right now, and they're getting on the bench press, and they're just worried about, the weight they're lifting up, what's the advice you'd give them?
No ego lifting. No, I know you just want to lift. You're used to seeing people lifting 225 pounds, 300 pounds, 400, et cetera, and you want to do that too. Slow down. You have a whole lot of time. This is a lifestyle. This is not something you do for a few months or a few years. This is something that you should be doing for the rest of your life. Even if it's not heavy lifting, but just doing these motions in general. If you're going to work out for longevity, you want to make sure you're doing it correctly and not just worrying about the numbers. And so quality over quantity when it comes to this, for sure.
And I would imagine, to some respect, the quantity more referring to the amount of weight you're lifting, because you could do more, I would imagine, ripping of your muscles and getting more definition from the multitude of reps versus lifting the 225 pounds twice or three times, like that kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So also coming into working out, so I wasn't familiar with the difference between bodybuilding and strength and powerlifting and strength training. Those are two different worlds. Two different worlds. Bodybuilding is, as it sounds, you're sculpting the body. So that requires repetitions. That requires heavy weights, good quality heavy weights, and repetition. Yes, and powerlifting or strength training more so is getting the central nervous system used to moving this amount of weight. So, for example, benching 225 pounds for 12 reps will get you the big chest. Benching 225 pounds for 2-3 reps will not get you the big chest, but it will give you stronger. So lifting heavy weights with repetition, yes, you will get stronger.
I also imagine, especially if you aren't ready for it, doing those 3 reps at 225 pounds could hurt you real bad.
Absolutely. Without even practicing that movement, getting the repetitions in with just keeping a strict form and building up to 225 pounds, then yes, you could definitely hurt yourself. And
you want to build that elasticity up, and when we talk about stretching before working out, I imagine the daily activity of strengthening these muscles before you take on these big weights is probably a big deal.
Absolutely. I didn't care about stretching until my adult years. I just wanted to get in the gym and lift, and that's what I was doing. So I've been working out since I was 14. I'll be going on 28 this year, so almost 14 years.
That's crazy, because I mean, other than like somebody making me to work out in a gym class somewhere, I was not, as a teenager, I was not focused on any kind of actual exercise for exercise sake.
Mm-hmm. So I've been working out for almost 14 years, and I didn't start caring about stretching until I became a personal trainer as of 2016. So throughout all my years of training, I've come across a lot of injuries, not a lot to like hinder my movements, like a broken leg or a broken collarbone or anything like that. I pulled a few muscles, you know, a couple of strains here and there. And it took some time to recover from those. Still, an injury is an injury, no matter how big or small it is. Still an
Let me
injury.
ask this question before we kind of try to push forward through the rest of the high school story. I want to get into like how you got involved with SBI and West Indian DVD and your road to graduation. But did you have any injuries in high school related to sports or exercise?
No, luckily I didn't. Luckily I did not. I did exercises. I will feel something like, oh, this don't feel right. But ego, you push through it, you push to the pain, and then not supposed to, but that's what I was doing.
Well,
Um,
I think it's a great thing, and your story is similar. Like you're training Trevor and Akosua right now, and I interviewed both of them, and their stories where they talk about finding things during their high school journey, and they have such different stories. Trevor and Akosua, who actually married each other. So Trevor had an AutoCAD class in Randolph that changed his life, and then probably the biggest takeaway with Akosua was actually outside of Randolph. She was involved with Harlem Children's Zone and had some great writing things that they provided for her and some after school stuff that they provided for her. But those things really impacted their post education careers. And I thought that was an amazing part of the story of Randolph. And I love hearing that, you seemed to have to pick up something that you were incredibly excited about and now have continued on into your professional career. So I'm seeing those similarities there.
Absolutely.
All right. So
Now the
talk to us
story.
about this journey. How did you get involved with SBI and what were your thoughts going into junior year and walk us through all that.
Sure. So getting into SBI. So name drop. So I mentioned my friend Joshua England and Trevor. Joshua, who joined West Indian, I believe, our sophomore year. And Trevor did step his freshman year. So first time I was exposed to SBI. Luckily, we had, I guess you call it like a period where we go to the auditorium and there'd be showcases, the December showcase and the May showcase. And I remember going to my first showcase in December and seeing all these performances. So I've never been to any kind of performance prior to.
Is this
So
is this not freshman year?
freshman year, yes, freshman
Okay,
year,
this is freshman year.
December.
Okay, so you
Yeah,
go freshman year. I think I remember this from the pre-interview. You see the December show, and you immediately start making some connections.
yes. So I see people dancing. I see the dancers. So I've been exposed to dancing. I come from a family of vocalists and dancers. So I've always liked dancing, not choreographed. I like to do it for fun. Until I came to the school and I seen people would be doing choreographed stepping, choreographed dancing. And before I continue, my original plan was to join the step team. I was supposed to join United Brothers. I told Trevor and a
And
few
it's
other
funny because
guys.
I remember, I think if I'm remembering correctly, there were times where you were still trying to be a part of both.
Yes, I was trying to do both. I was trying to balance out both. I told Trevor and a few other of my friends, I said, oh yeah, I'm gonna definitely do UB. I'm gonna join. I don't know. I seen some my best friend at the time was Joshua England, and all you hear was, "Oh, Josh, you did good dance. Oh, you did great. This and that." And I seen all the girls he's attracted. I was like, "Oh, that's what you get? Okay, I want to do that too."
It's funny how that element affects our stories so much.
Absolutely. So me lifting the weights and dancing, I was like, "Oh, I want the girls. I want to be that popular guy." You know, that was the idea. And then Joshua joined sophomore year, and I watched him. I was like, "Yeah, he's a great dancer. This and that." So I dedicated the summer of 2007 learning how to dance. So like I said, luckily it's in my genes that I have rhythm and picking up dancing is not hard for me. So once I'll go on YouTube, learn the dances, I would go to practices, I would watch them dance, and I was able to just pick up, and then I would just start practicing at my house. So then I didn't join the team until my junior year. Then 2009, I joined West Indian, and we had to audition. We had to do our own choreograph, our own freestyle, our own choreograph, and one that was taught to us. So I did that, and I joined the team, and I've been on the team for the rest of my high school years. So that's how I got into SBI. So within being SBI, you had to pass. Yes, that's me, far right. That is, what year was that? Wow. Oh, okay. So I was one of the students that continued to come back to the school to help out the team. So that was after I graduated, the very next year after I graduated.
Really? I thought that was
Yeah,
I thought I have it down as this is 2009. I thought.
that's 2009. That's crazy because I remember it being more guys there in 2009 for sure.
You know, sometimes when we took these photos, you know how the guys could be. That might be part of it. They might not have showed up for that aspect of it.
As a matter of fact, yes, that is 2009. Yeah, I think that's the December showcase of 2009. I could be mistaken, but I think that's the December showcase.
Yeah, that's what I have. December Showcase 2009.
Yeah, yeah. That's what that was. Okay, so I was still a student there, and at that time, there was three, four other guys, but I was the only one during that show for the December showcase. I don't remember too well. I think that's how it went though.
So everybody, I got blue arrows on the screen. If you have any doubt, I mean, he's the only guy there, but that's Hassan. And I'm gonna pull up a Facebook photo of you when we get to the end of the story. And I'll also, if you send me any photos, I'll put them at the front end of this interview. And people I know are going to be amazed to see the difference between then and now. I'm going to stop sharing this. So yeah, talk to us more about your junior year. Now you're starting to make plans for post high school. What's going on?
So junior year, so now I'm in SBI. So SBI is not only about performances; they were really college savvy. What college you want to go, college preparation. That's basically what that was. Career and College Preparatory Institute. I think that's what stood
You're
for.
spot on. Exactly
Yes.
right.
So it prepared us for college. We did college mock trials. So as if we'll get interviewed as if we're being interviewed by people from the colleges. Um, Building our portfolios for colleges and things of that nature. And not only for colleges, but for our careers as well. Working on our resumes and building portfolios, how to build cover letters and things of that nature. So luckily that I'm grateful for that because that definitely prepared me for my adulthood, preparing me for work and things like that. But junior year was really okay. What colleges you want to go to? So I had a couple of colleges in mind. Around that time, so junior year. That's probably like my best year in football year, and I got a letter from Penn State because they came and prospected at one of the games, and I got a letter from Penn State. That year was a difficult year because that was the year I lost my father, and then things just went left. I just went left. My path became very cloudy, so I didn't know what I wanted to do after that. So things took a turn as far as okay, where I'm gonna go after college.
Yeah, and
So
I think this is such an important thing, Hassan. And you know, my condolences. I know it's a long time ago, but you know, even talking about this can be really painful for folks. But I think a lot of people can identify with this, and hopefully, as people are talking to folks, whether it's you or somebody else that's seeing this interview, we can share it with somebody that might be going through that now. I can imagine there's a fair amount of students in high school at A. Philip Randolph and in other places that are losing family members right now. And
absolutely.
I'd actually like you to speak to sort of how that did affect you academically, because I think that's important for, you know, administrators, teachers. I know in dealing with somebody like yourself and other students, sometimes we're like, why are they making the decisions that they're making? You know, they're smarter than that. They know better than that. But trauma is real, and it really can wreak havoc in our lives and throw us for a loop. Talk to that.
Yeah. So after losing my dad, it took me a while to cope. It took me a while to snap back from that. And now that prior to this interview, I never really thought about it, like how much it changed me, like my whole attitude changed, my whole demeanor changed and everything. I became more conservative. It wasn't until recently, like a few years ago as an adult, I started to become more open. But from that moment, after that, I was pretty closed off. I was pretty closed off. That was my second significant family member that passed. So before that, I lost my uncle. I lost to AIDS, and then it was my father. So I'm not used to death. I wasn't used to death like that. So I didn't know how to take it. I didn't know how to go about it. I didn't
Yeah,
know any kind of
I
coping
don't think
mechanism.
anybody, most people aren't, and you know, it's terrible if you are, right? Like, I mean, that's just not something that, you know, especially, you know, fathers not outliving their children, you know, their childhood. That's rough.
Absolutely. So I was still on the teams and everything, but I know my whole personality changed. I wasn't always the happy guy. That was the image I was trying to portray. That was really just a facade. I
How
was
did it
hurting
affect your academics?
academically. I never cut school until after that.
Hmm.
Then I started cutting school. I wasn't cutting classes, or not cutting schools, excuse me, cutting classes. I'll say that, not cutting school. After that moment, then I started cutting classes. And I started cutting my last 2, 3 classes. And after that, I was like, yeah, I started to become nonchalant towards school
Yeah,
around that point.
I imagine that it's a double-edged sword. You know, you're losing your father. I don't know what role he played in pushing you in school, but I got to figure that, you know, one of my, you know, I love my father to death, but he was doing it by himself. And one of the things that he wasn't particularly strong on was pushing me with my kids. I've been fortunate to be married for 16 years, and I don't know what I'd do without my wife, because when I'm losing it, when I'm busy, she pulls up picks up the slack, and vice versa. You know, I pick up the slack when she's not able to, or, you know, maybe I'm a little bit more outgoing about getting the kids outside to exercise, and she's a little bit more outgoing about getting the kids to organize their inside life, that kind of thing. What do you do when that team is broken up? And as a kid, you know, my parents were broken up. That affected me some kind of way. But, you know, you're in the middle of high school and you lose a role model, you lose somebody that's maybe helping to guide you down that path, and you got that double-edged sword. Now you're losing that support, and at the same moment experiencing trauma. That's got to be rough for anybody.
Absolutely. So yeah, that was a junior year. Senior year was okay. Now is go all out. You know, even though junior year is supposed to be a really important year.
Yeah.
Senior year is like, all right, now we got to do this. Okay, you grieved. At least I thought I finished grieving. Like, you grieved, now you got to like pick up the slack and everything. So like I said, I thought I finished grieving, but even then, I was still unclear of my path on where I wanted to go. I had ideas of colleges I wanted to go to, like I mentioned to you, Herkimer. Wanted to go to Herkimer. I had Penn State in mind. There was a few other colleges I don't remember, but those are like Herkimer because I know a couple of friends were going there, and Penn State because, you know, watching football, seeing all these guys in the NFL come from Penn State, or watching the NCAA, and it's like, okay, I definitely want to go there.
Yeah, I had notes, old Facebook notes, matter of fact, that were popping up as we were reconnecting. And I remember, you know, I reached out to you, and you very firmly said, you know, I'm going to Herkimer, and then I'm joining the military.
Yeah. Senior year, wow, the military. So I was interested in the Marine branch. So I was speaking to a recruiter, was Schulter, I forgot his rank, but it was Schulter Brown, and I was doing that with a classmate, Javier Rodriguez, who
Yep,
is
I was gonna
former.
mention him if you didn't. Javier
Yeah,
has had a pretty interesting career. I reached out to him, by the way, and I'm gonna keep pushing. I really want to interview him because I know he's got a crazy story to share as well.
absolutely. So that was gonna be my wingman. We were supposed to go in together. We were supposed to do it together. The recruiter came to my house, sat down, spoke to me and my mom, signed the paper. And I have friends down my neck. What are you doing? Why you want to do this? This and that. Luckily, I'm not around this time. Peer pressure wasn't an issue for me. So I was like, yeah. I hear what y'all say. But at the end of the day,
No,
this is what I want to
I
do.
know what you're talking about. I mean, you know, being in Harlem, and I mean, even if you would have talked to me at the time, I have a different opinion now about the military. I definitely have I definitely have strong feelings about how somebody should get into the military. But I have a different opinion, but you know, it's a very political thing, especially with black and brown bodies, right? It's like, you know, there's some definite feelings some kind of way about going and joining the man's army, you know?
Absolutely. Around this time, join the military or joining the police department as a black or brown person, yes, you're going to get a lot of unwelcome opinions, which is it's understandable. They're all coming from well places, for the most part. But yeah, this I don't. I was my head was somewhere else, but I don't know what happened. I don't know what gave me a change of mind. I don't know. I don't remember what was the whole process, but I didn't want to do it anymore.
Mm.
So Shoulder Brown would come to the school. He would come look for Javier, get Javier, and he would look for me, and I would just completely dodge him. The moment I heard he's in the school, I would literally like keep my head low and everything. If
You
I
know,
heard he's around the
it's such a
corner,
real story because I think that's such a common experience. I mean, it was part of my high school experience that, you know, I didn't graduate high school. I ended up getting my GED because at a certain point for me, I was like, I just bought out. Like I just, you know, where you need, like, you know, you're a trainer. So, you know, for a customer that's coming to you, they need to buy in, right? They need to
absolutely,
commit. And we know if a student tunes out, decides not to commit, it's rough. Like you can't really, you know, you can't really help somebody that doesn't want to help themselves. And I think a lot of us get into that position where we just say like, listen, we're out. You know, I'm not, you know, I'm not buying it anymore.
absolutely.
So,
And
so what happened? So you graduate high school, right?
I graduated high school and I immediately started working. So I graduated in 2010. And my first job was at the bowling alley in Harlem Links. I used to be located on 126th Street in Adam Clayton Powell.
So
And I worked
you go
there.
from high school to the bowling lane and you're not going to college.
No. So I just
Okay.
started working immediately, right off the bat, right off rip, started working.
And just so we get a bit of transition here, because I think the value of doing these interviews with people and in talking to the SBI board. So I'm a board member. You know, I've been involved with SBI since 1996, believe it or not. And,
Dinosaur.
say again?
Dinosaur.
Thanks for that, Hassan. So I've been involved with them for such a long time. And, you know, part of our concern is that there's a lot of alumni that just don't come back and support the shows, the programs that SBI is putting on. And you just sit there and you wonder why, because Randolph is special. You know, there's not a weight room. There's not an AutoCAD class. You know, there's not SBI at some of these smaller schools. I wish there was, but you know, there isn't. You know, Randolph is a special building and it's in Harlem, and there's not enough institutions like that, especially going back to the black and brown bodies kind of thing, especially for that community, for our community. So, you know, in talking about your story and in talking to the board, you know, this idea that there's a lot of students that, you know, maybe they had interactions with Thompson and Thompson was like, go to college, go to college, go to college. And maybe their story involved not going to college, maybe going to the military, maybe not going, you know, anywhere but, you know, a job at the bowling lane, that kind of thing. And maybe they went to college. So like Akosua, her story is really great because she went to college, and it was one of the colleges that Mr. Thompson recommended, but her college experience wasn't ideal. She
Mm-hmm.
didn't come out of that experience thinking like, you know, Charles Thompson sent me down the ideal path. She was a little angry. I think she's a lot happier now. She's like finding her voice and she's using the skill sets that she got out of college. And I thought one of the interesting things in our pre-interview was like how you were feeling some kind of way about your peers that did go to college and the opportunities that they got. So I'd like you to talk to that, but just in terms of finishing my point here, in terms of like why I think this is such value, listen, you know, your story might not be ideal, or maybe it's super awesome and you're doing exactly what you want. And this idea of like, we're alumni, Randolph has done something special in our life, SBI has done something special in our life. We want that to stay available and a resource for kids in Harlem, kids in Brooklyn, you know, kids in the Bronx, kids in Queens. Let's come back and support that and support our alumni community. So, you know, one of the big goals out of today is hopefully alumni will connect with you as a resource, as somebody that they know and has walked your footsteps and can get training from you just the same way some of your other alumni peers are doing.
So as far as that, school, seeing my friends go to college, and of course you want to hear the bad, you want to hear the good, and you want to hear the bad. So when I heard the bad, this may sound kind of bitter. When I heard the bad, it was like, oh, well, I'm glad I didn't go to college. I don't want to be in that situation. But then again, as I got older, you know, you get to understand like how careers work. If you want to get into the career you want, college is a necessary
Well,
step.
let me ask you a question, Hassan. Do you
Yeah.
have any college loans that you have to pay right now?
I have not college loans, but I still have loans to pay from personal training schools. I still have to take out loans for that.
Okay. And how much was that?
Well, now it's bumped down. That was 6,500. So it's not a lot of money.
So let me say this. There's going to be people that hear that 6,500 number, right?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of what you owe for your education, that's allowing you to do the career that you're doing, you know, owning the business that you have, and they're going to be super jealous because they're paying $100,000 bills and maybe not being as successful as you are. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So yeah, I decided to
Well, I
take
think everybody's situation
out.
is different, and I think, you know, one of the interesting things in Trevor's story is, you know, he wished that he talked to more people and utilized more resources on the financial aid side, because, you know, him going to school, and especially because of the route that it took, and he had to go to multiple places, he owes a lot of money that maybe he wouldn't have owed if he would have been a little bit more resourceful in the road up to his college selection. So that's a big shout out to my high school juniors, my high school freshmen that might be doing like you and I did and not getting great grades in the early years of high school. You know, get your path right and get the opportunity open to you to get that financial aid. Sorry to interrupt you again, Hassan. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, so I decided to take the trade route. But I owed about 6,500. There's not that anymore
So
now.
so let's talk about before that. So you're working at the bowling lane, and I know that you end up at Crunch, right?
Yeah, so once I got my certification, I immediately got hired at Crunch and Blink
So
at the same time.
how did you go from the bowling alley to the certification? What gave you the inspiration to get the coaching certification?
Okay, so that's a whole 6-year gap, because I started working at the bowling alley from 2010, left 2012. I went through several jobs before I decided, okay, I'm gonna be a personal trainer.
So
I've been working out since
people glance
2007.
over this stuff, but you know, once you get to the end of this, because I don't want to you know, go crazy on this job and the other, but there's a mentality switch, right? There's something in you that clicks, and I want to hear about that. You're going from job to job, and suddenly you decide to invest in yourself and invest in your education to allow you to take on a different career. What's the switch what ignited that change?
Well, I was tired of I wasn't happy at the jobs I was working. I was saying, well, I want to do something I like. I want to do something I enjoy. I enjoy working out. At the time, I was going to the gym with friends. I was pretty much coaching friends for free. And then Albert Nixon, he was like, why don't you get paid for this? Why don't you become a personal trainer?
Yes.
So that was the first person that mentioned it. So at the time, I was like, I'll consider it. But then I kept hearing it, and I kept hearing it.
I don't want to interrupt your story, but I think it's important when we're calling out this kind of stuff. So Albert Nixon, we're going to tag him on this. You're a game changer, right? You're lifting up your friends. And for the folks that are listening to this right now, I need you, especially in these times, right? I need you to talk to a friend that you know has talent and skill, and maybe you haven't expressed that. Tell them. Let them know that they're awesome at whatever they're passionate about, because that might be the spark that leads to another spark that leads to what Hassan is talking about right now. Keep going, Hassan.
So after he put the bug in my ear, then several other people were saying, "Why don't you get paid for doing this?" The financial I gave, and I said, "All right, cool. So let's
Who
look
else?
into it."
Can we drop some other names here? We got Albert Nixon. Who else was influential here?
Albert Nixon, Trevor, because I was working. We all three was working at the
Yeah.
same time around that time, 2012, in that year to be exact. Trevor Castleberry, Ochena Kelly, who was also a personal trainer, he recommended the same thing as well. So,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
it was a few other people I don't remember, but I know it took a couple of people to convince me, like, just why don't you do this as a career?
Yeah,
So
you never know if you're the straw on the camel's back that brings the positivity that changes somebody's life. So that's awesome. Yeah.
absolutely. So I decided I enrolled in the first personal training school I looked at was Focus Academy, but they didn't offer any kind of financial aid or anything. So I didn't do that. So the school I went to was American Academy of Personal Training, that was created by Harry Hansen. Shout out to him. And from there, so that was a 6-month process. I was a part-time student. I only went on Saturdays and Sundays. So I worked from Monday to Friday at GNC at the time. So GNC and the personal training thing went hand in hand. GNC gave me knowledge and supplementation and everything, and diet and nutrition. And now I'm going to school for personal training. So it was just good timing, I guess. It was proper timing. And the moment I got my certification, I left GNC and I got hired at the gym. And then that's how my personal training career started from there, from 2016.
What gym were you working at? Was that Crunch?
Crunch Fitness, the one in Bowery Street.
Okay.
And Blink Fitness, the one on 40th and 3rd Avenue.
So we're going to run out of time here, so I don't want to dwell too much on it. But then, so you go from Crunch, you go to Blink. Tell us about what you're doing now and how you got there.
What am I doing now?
Yeah.
So now I am an independent trainer, because during these times, the gyms let go of their trainers. So now I am training people virtually on several platforms: Skype, IG, WhatsApp.
And what gym were you at before that?
I was at Equinox Fitness, the one located in Grand Central, so 44th and Lexington Avenue. So I was there from 2018 until currently, till now.
That's amazing. So this is great, right? You're at Equinox. Obviously, challenges arise, right? So we're here in the moment, and you have your own business and you're consulting. So talk to us about that.
Yes. So I consult people on diet and nutrition, as well as movement and so exercise. Coaching people on how to get to their goals. If people want to lose weight or gain muscle, or if they have a deadline, or if they just want to feel better about themselves and just be healthy. So I coach them on the steps to take to get there, to get to where they have to go. So if people have questions about nutrition and things like that, they'll say, "Oh, how many grams of protein should I be eating after such and such?" So I would tell them. Not only am I telling them from what I learned at school, also through experience, because as of, like I said, now I'm an NPC athlete, so a bodybuilding athlete, as well as a powerlifting athlete as well. So now I have more expertise and insight on how diet and nutrition goes hand in hand with the exercise.
That's great. And I just got some great information yesterday on the personal branding side that I hope you start working on. You're connected to the right people to help you through the process, with both Trevor and Akosua being on this big self-published author tip.
Yes.
Right? They can help you get published. And I got this advice yesterday, and I thought it was so huge. And I'm going to share just the Facebook pictures here with you. But on the personal branding tip, you have a book in you, and you know, I've gotten this advice. You know, you need to write the book, Cameron. You need to write the book, so there's Hassan, completely jacked. You look amazing, man. I gotta say,
Thank
congratulations.
you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And I mean, he's just a monster. If you guys remember that picture from just a little while ago that I showed you, I wouldn't have called him skinny. I know he referred to himself as skinny when I was talking to him yesterday or the other day, but I wouldn't call him skinny. But he's nothing near slim now. You can see he's jacked. He's ready to go head to head with The Rock any day here. Right. So very cool. Just an amazing story. But you can write your book, and the way you can do it is write your outline, talk about the things that you want to talk about, right? And then you go, you know, you get some privacy, you shut off the phone for 2 days, you know, you take all the alert features off, you tell the world I'm going to disappear for 2 days. And what you do for 2 days is you just talk into a phone on that outline that you wrote. Then you go to like Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com, get somebody to transcribe those recorded pieces that you spoke out loud, because you can speak about this, obviously, right? And then you can get that back from the transcriber. So now you have your written content that you spoke out over 2 days, right? And then you edit it and publish your book with the help of Trevor and Acosta online on Amazon. And now you're a published author. You're a consultant. That is, you know, that's that kind of thing. I think so many people need that information. You can certainly do it. I need to do it. And it's just one of those things that I think will help immensely. With that being said, I'm so appreciative of having you today. I think people are going to get a lot of value out of this, and our time is officially up, and I'm going to get this edited and brought out to the people. Anything that you want to say in closing?
Look out for my book, actually, because I am writing the book now.
There we go.
10 reasons on why you need a personal trainer. So look out for that book during this year, actually. It'll be ready by this year.
That's amazing. So he said it, he's put it out into the world, so you know it's going to happen, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to line up. I'm going to be one of the first people to buy it. Thank you, Hassan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.